Welcome, Gold Derbyites, to another edition of Awards Magnet. I'm Deputy Editor Ethan Alter, here with Senior Editors Marcus James Dixon and Denton Davidson. Hello, sirs. Welcome back for another week.
Here we go again.
Yes, absolutely. And it's been an eventful week because final Emmy voting began on Monday, August 18th. It's going to run through Wednesday, August 27th. And that final voting day was preceded by a weekend that was filled with events. many, many, many events that both of you can attest to, having been present for a lot of them, and me watching from the East Coast fondly. We also, Gold Derby's been all over. Besides being on the ground, we've also been covering in a lot of other ways. We have a digital magazine that just hit digital shelves on Monday with all of our analysis and interviews and other great things. And we've also been doing a lot of individual interviews on the site with a lot of different people that we've been excited to speak with as they're jockeying for Emmy contention. So, Denton, what are some of your favorite conversations that you've had so far for that people could check out?
I mean, it's been such a great time in the office. We've had so many great people coming in. Most recently, I had Alan Cumming. He's so much fun. I mean, who doesn't want to talk to Alan Cumming? So he just gives a lot of new dirt on season 4 and how exciting that's going to be, and has just a lot of fun stories, even about his dog Lala. And
the most trusted person in Hollywood is Lala.
He did call his beloved Lala the most trusted person in Hollywood, saying no human deserves that title. And Kristen Milioti and Deirdre O'Connell from The Penguin were both here. It's one of my favorite shows of the season, so we're rooting for that as well. And they were both great and had, so much interesting insight on that series, which is, it's just sort of a technical marvel. So it'll be interesting to see how they stand up against adolescents. It's going to be a tough night for them, but I think they could fare pretty well.
And not just Deirdre O'Connell, but Dee Dee O'Connell, as we know. You're on
Dee.
Nickname basis
with
Dee. That's great. I love it. Marcus, how about yourself? What are some of the conversations you've been enjoying having recently that people could check out?
My big ones were from reality shows. I'm a huge reality fan. I talked to Jeff Probst, the great, the legend. He also gave us some scoop on the upcoming seasons, which was nice. And Phil Kogan, not nominated for host, but nominated for a producer yet again on The Amazing Race. He's already won 10 of those things. And I got the feeling that they mean a lot to him. So Emmy voters, keep on trucking them Phil's way.
Absolutely. I had a fun chat with Alan Tudyk, who voices K2SO on Andor, and had some fun insights into Rogue One and the Andor of it all, and also revealed he's not going to be voicing Hey Hey in the Moana live action movie. So even though Dwayne Johnson's coming back for that, sadly, the rooster Hey Hey will have a different voice. But he sounded relieved he didn't have to put on a motion capture outfit to play a rooster. So that's good. I'll give him credit there. Probably not the most fun assignment to have.
The Andor fans are intense, too. I mean, they were pissed that Andor didn't get enough Emmy nominations. So
exactly.
You talked to the great Giancarlo, who I'll let you pronounce his last name because we've all been pronouncing it wrong.
That's right. He's told us he leans into his Italian heritage, so it's Giancarlo Esposito. So that's how you're supposed to pronounce his name going forward.
Yeah, great. Is this breaking news?
He did give it to Mark Maron. He spoiled that on Mark Maron a few years ago. So I give Mark Maron credit for putting it out there. As for so many things in the podcasting universe, I give credit to Mark Maron. But he was great, and he did a little bicep curl for us. So he's gotten in shape for a new action movie he's working on, and the muscles are very impressive. So whatever protein powder he's eating, keep on doing it. He looks in great shape. So congrats to Giancarlo.
I talked to Molly McNerney from Jimmy Kimmel Live, producer and husband of Jimmy, and she's accepting the fact that Late Show with Stephen Colbert is probably going to win this year, but she's like, maybe Jimmy Kimmel can win next year.
Yeah, and her husband's actively campaigning for Stephen Colbert. So yeah, no, exactly. And if he decides to go off the air after next year, he can get his own last year bump. Maybe that's how they Awesome. Well, we're going to dive into some of the big stories of the week, but before we do that, I wanted to shout out we got an email at our awardsmagnet@goldderby.com email address where you can send all your comments, questions, and concerns. I wanted to read out this question for us to kick around, and this comes from Nancy Mallory. Nancy, thanks for sending us your thoughts. And the question is, I'm wondering if the off-screen drama could impact the winning chances for The White Lotus. while the third season aired, I kept seeing headlines overshadowing the show. And she mentions the Walton Goggins, Amy Lee Wood incidents, for example, and also the composer and Mike White. And then she concludes saying, I get they will eventually get nominated, and they were in most cases, but could those controversies sway voters to consider other nominees? So what do we think? Do the off-screen things ever come into play when it comes to these kinds of things?
I mean, my opinion is it's not going to do much. I never really buy into controversies. I mean, I just always think back to like when Green Book still won Best Picture and everyone's like, it's done for. I think it takes something really powerful to actually move the needle. And most of this stuff is all happening on people's phones with their thumbs. Like most voters aren't paying attention to this. I think if anything, Amy Lee Wood was helped this season. I mean, her profile, after all the stuff that she went through and like the SNL skit, I mean, I think she rose in the odds from all of that. But like Parker Posey and that whole interview that she was sitting next to Blake Lively. Blake Lively's in the news so much. Like Parker is like a blip in that story that nobody barely saw. So I don't think it's going to hurt Parker. I think Walter still has this award in the bag, and Mike White is Mike White. I mean, people aren't paying attention to an angry composer. No offense to composers, but I just don't see it happening. I think the White Lotus is fine. Just being at all the events recently, I was just at like multiple FYCs over the weekend. You still go up to people, what shows are you loving this season? I'm always expecting to hear this big variety, and it's always the White Lotus. People keep telling me the White Lotus. So I'm wondering if the White Lotus will win even more than I'm predicting.
Right.
I mean, sometimes controversies do hurt. Like I'm thinking of Emilia Perez with the lead actress, Carlos Sofia Gascon, whose past tweets came back to haunt her. And I think that really was the reason that the movie did not win Best International Film. But I mean, it did not help. It did not hurt Zoe Saldana. So at the same time, it can hurt some people. It doesn't prove to hurt others. That being said, I don't think the White Lotus was even going to win series. So the controversies don't hurt it or help it. Walton Goggins, I think he was a lock before the controversies. I think he's still a lock. And, Amy Lee Wood was never really in the top one or two spots there. That was always kind of Carrie Coon, Parker Posey. I've recently switched to Carrie Coon, breaking news, because of the whole Gilded Age thing. Like that's something that really can affect a campaign in a positive way. If somebody is, nominated for one thing, but they're also in another thing that shows them in a totally different light that's airing during voting. All of those reasons made me switch to Carrie Coon in that aspect.
And also Carlos Sofia Gascon really gassed up and lit a blaze of fire around her that is much different than anything from the White Lotus, I think. Exactly. So I don't think anyone from the White Lotus is on that level.
And they were all very good about trying to tamp down speculation too. Walton Goggins and Amy Lee Wood went on that sort of tour where they talked about how much how much affection they had for each other after some of that stuff stirred up. So yeah, they tamped that down. And Parker Posey, I think, didn't even know what the Blake Lively thing was. I wouldn't be surprised. He's like, what when did that happen? I remember sitting next to her. So.
I really think that resurfaced interview did not hurt Parker at all. If it hurt Blake Lively at all, okay, fine. But I think Parker escaped that unscathed. Yes.
I will say the one counter to your Carrie Coon example, but when you're present in a good show, is always obviously the Eddie Murphy Norbit fiasco when he was looking like going to win for Dreamgirls and then Norbit came out and not. So it helps be in something good when you're in contention for something else. I think is the main takeaway as Gilded Age season 3, as we all agree, was very good for the Gilded Age especially. It was a great season.
Is this the first Norbit mention on Awards Magnet?
It might be. And we know Eddie Murphy likes it. He says he's been in worse movies, which is also true. I will say that's also true. But Norbit is still pretty bad. That doesn't redeem Norbit in any real way. All right. Well, let's dive into some of the big stories. Denton, you alluded to this, but as we mentioned in the segment, there were so many FYC events this weekend, and the big one was Televerse, which is the first officially sanctioned TV Academy FYC event. And that means that the Academy was able to officially bill it as an FYC event. It was advertised that way, and it could officially invite members to come because there are rules protocols in place for other further consideration events in terms of how they relate to members and how they can build themselves. So you were both on the ground at Televerse. Give us some of your, Marcus, give us some of your impressions of the inaugural Televerse and what you experienced there, what you saw.
So I was there the first day, and I was kind of sending you messages over Slack, and there was a little bit of chaos because it was the first time. People were confused of where to go. There was long lines to actually check in and get your sort of credential thing. But I imagine by the end of the festival, it was a 3-day festival. I imagine by the end of it, people had figured it out, and that you could keep your lanyard, from day to day. So you wouldn't have to check in each day. That's what I was envisioning. So the first day, maybe I got unlucky, but I did 3 panels. I did The Traitors, I did Paradise, I did RuPaul's Drag Race. They were all fun. They were all exciting and lively. The seats, there were some empty seats in all of them. Again, it was the first day. They were not completely filled to the brim as they could have. But they were fun events. Like RuPaul's Drag Race put on a live lip sync battle for the audience. The audience really seemed to be loving it. Paradise brought out Sterling K. Brown, Julianne Nicholson, James Marsden, Dan Fogelman, like the big guns from that show. And The Traitors, if you're a Traitors fan, they brought back the 6 biggest baddies from all 3 seasons. So even though season 3 is eligible, they brought back Sari from season 1, Parvati, Phaedra from season 2. Phaedra was very, very vocal on the panel. I don't think I'll get into it now, but she was a little bit naughty, which I like. Read it at Gold Derby. It's in the headline.
There we go. Go to Gold Derby. Check that out. get all your scoop. Denton, you went to both Televerse and an HBO event. Can you compare and contrast for us? What was the?
I mean, they were very different. Televerse, I will say, we divided and conquered at Televerse. So I was there day 2. When I walked in, it was crickets. Like nothing was happening. I was like, where do I check in? And it was like a long, empty hallway to a table just for me. And so I checked in. I went to 2 panels, Nobody Wants This and Shrinking. Nobody Wants This. I mean, it's interesting when you gauge it and you're wondering, like, how are voters looking at this or are fans purchasing tickets? But Nobody Wants This, half empty. I mean, it wasn't that well attended. It was a good panel. Kristen Bell was there. But, there wasn't anything necessarily exciting. Shrinking, on the other hand, was the one panel this weekend that like totally shifted my mindset. I think it was, first of all, it was full to the max, and everyone was so focused on Harrison Ford and pushing him to win his first Emmy. The whole cast, they were all just talking about Harrison Ford, and the crowd was like hooing and hawing and and he got emotional. And I walked out of there and I did what I said I was never going to do. And I switched Harrison Ford into first place and Ike Barinholtz down to second. And I thought I was
big
not
news.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, the support for Harrison Ford is real out here. So, I mean, we'll see. It could still be a studio sweep situation, but I've never seen anything like it. And then Sunday, HBO did their own all-day FYC, which I attended. A little more controlled. It seemed like it was a little more, it was one space, all the top show, White Lotus, The Pit, The Penguin, Hacks, all of them came out back to back. And it was just a lot of fun. And everything was
stars.
All the big stars. Everyone was there. Colin Farrell, I mean, a couple virtual. Gene Smart and Kristen Milioti were out of town, but everyone else that you would think of was there. And it was just a lot of fun. So I think HBO, I would give the edge to them over Televerse in terms of how to throw an event, but Televerse is figuring it out. I mean,
yeah, Televerse did close out their final night with their TV induction for the Hall of Fame, their first one in 3 years. And so people like Viola Davis, Dawn Misher, Ryan Murphy, Conan O'Brien, Mike Post, Henry Winkler, they all got inducted into the TV Hall of Fame, and Gold Derby was there covering that one as well. So that was really fun.
From a readership perspective, really quickly, the Hall of Fame coverage that we did got a lot of reader attention. And Denton, your great recap of the Harrison Ford Shrinking panel also did. That really took off. So I think as much as the audience in the room and the cast members for Shrinking were into Harrison Ford winning, it seems like readers are as well. Certainly that got a lot of attention. There's a lot of support in the comments for him winning. So just as to that.
It just felt like the space was too big. Like it's just like there was like this big convention like center at the Marriott, and it was just like herding cattle. I don't know.
I agree. The ballrooms there was a lot of empty space. Like in addition to the empty chairs, there were empty space where they could have added more chairs, and it just felt like maybe a little bit more intimate next time.
I think Marcus, you made a great comparison to Comic Con, and like there were some Comic Con vibes going on, but they didn't quite have the Comic Con spectacle down yet. So and Comic Con wasn't Comic Con when it started either. So it definitely is a learning process in terms of how to put on a show and how to fill and how to make things that fill a room consistently. So,
but I had fun, and I can't wait to see year two in August of 2026.
Right. They'll be back. And we mentioned shrinking, obviously. Other show, do you think any other show was helped by either of these, by either the HBO or Televerse? Is there any show you came out of saying, oh, this really connected? I think this is something that could maybe take off because they were here and present for this.
I mean, not more than anything else. I mean, I think it always helps to get like in front of a face, and I think people who are attending the panels usually are already sort of a fan. I mean, I think not a lot of people are really going to be convinced. It's sort of like, it's very much just like a political campaign. Like, you're not going to go to the DNC if you're a Republican. Like, it's just like you're kind of going to see what you want to see. But the only thing that really shifted my mind was that Harrison Ford moment. That's the only kind of like shift in in my Emmy universe that I could feel happening in my front of me. But the others are to be expected. I mean, I saw The Penguin, but like Adolescence wasn't there, so I can't compare, audience reaction to things like that. It's a little different.
It's interesting who shows up on the panels. Like The Traitors, I mentioned all The Traitors, and Alan Cumming was there. RuPaul's Drag Race did not have RuPaul or Michelle Visage or the winner or the runner-up. They had 4 other queens who were great and amazing. But I wonder if voters notice things like that. Like, where's RuPaul? Now, they could have been filming. I know RuPaul's Drag Race films in the summer, so maybe they were all on the stage, filming the next great season. So that's possible.
Alan Cumming is working the ground much harder than RuPaul. I will say that. He was at Televerse. He's spilling secrets. He's coming to our studio. But Ru has enough Emmys, maybe.
That's the thing. Alan's like, I'm taking this lane. I'm occupied.
He's the Frances McDormand of the Emmys. He's like, just keep raining them on, and I'll sit at home and collect them.
RuPaul has 14 Emmys, and that number will grow, if not this year, in future years.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting question. This sort of leads into our second section, which is about sort of like the value of these live events and what they do benefit in terms of shows. Because I'm specifically thinking about Severance. Severance was all over the place this weekend. They were at they had different FYC panels. They were also had a Happy, Sad, Confused podcast appearance with in conjunction with the studio. They had a special stunt at a Zoolander screening where I think that's where they brought out the marching band and did a whole thing there. So they piggybacked on that. So they really are leaning into the live event thing, and that sort of goes back to how they started the season with that great Grand Central stunt that sort of caught everyone's attention, and I think people got really excited for the show when it came back. So it seems like all throughout they've used live events as a way to connect with voters for a show that could be pretty cerebral. It seems like this is a way that they think seems to impact voters, and to me at least, it does seem to genuinely generate excitement, and I wonder if that's part of their strategy, since we know they're the most nominated show, leaning in on the live event thing to remind people we're more than just a cult thing. We are this phenomenon, and the live thing speaks to that.
Yeah, the live events are really great if you're there, but they're designed to go viral. They're designed to reach the voters who are at home that missed it. You could watch the clips on YouTube and Gold Derby and other sites. Like, I mean, how many times have we seen Tremel Tillman with his marching band? We'll probably see it a few more times. He'll probably come down the Emmys red carpet with that marching band. So even though, the voters that don't go there, they usually in years past would have missed it, but not now. Now these go viral. So I think that's the main point of when Apple does something like this. They want every voter at home who didn't get to go, they want them to still see it, and they will.
It'll at least remind you that you just have to, they're just trying to keep their name in the conversation. Like, as soon as you're forgotten, that's the worst thing, is just to be forgotten. But what I find interesting is I feel like that Severance and The Pit are sort of campaigning like along the themes of their show almost. Like, Severance is like big and bold, and like just crazy stuff is happening all the time. And The Pit campaign, they're very focused on speaking about healthcare workers, mental health. It's very emotional. And then they're very big on pushing that they film in Los Angeles and they're employing people here, and that's a huge topic in LA when so many jobs are going outside of Los Angeles and filming elsewhere. And The Pit is, you know, one of the top shows, and they're filming right here in LA, and that's one of the things they're really pushing. So it's going to be interesting to see which resonates with voters and what sort of campaign wins, because it is Severance versus The Pit, and we're going to find out which had the more effective campaign.
Yes. And we should say the Pit recently scored a major victory with the TCA Awards, which are given out by the Television Critics Association. So, Marcus, you were doing some sort of stat breakdown for us about how that pairs up with the Emmys. But we should note, like you would think that the critics would lean Severance because of the cerebral nature of it, but they went with their heart with The Pit. So, so Marcus, how do you think that impacts?
Is it a major victory?
That's another question. Is it a major victory? Is critical? Do critics' voices matter in this?
So first things first, The Pit wins 4 trophies, more than any other show. Program of the Year, which is a big one. Outstanding Achievement in Drama, that's Best Drama Series. Outstanding New Program, and then Individual Achievement in Drama for Noah Wyle. Now they don't have separate categories for men and women or for supporting and lead. So Noah Wyle beat somebody like Kathy Bates, for example. And so good for The Pit on those 4. Bridget Everett won Outstanding Achievement in Individual Achievement in Comedy. Now, she's not even nominated at the Emmys. So, I mean, what does that tell you? Sometimes they go their own way. They really like somebody, they're going to anoint that person. So I do have a breakdown, which is I was doing some research to find out how many times has let's do comedy first. So over the past 25 years, the Television Critics Association and the Emmys only matched up 10 times out of 25. I mean, that's not good. That's 40%.
Right. Yeah.
2 in a row, though, they have matched up. The Bear in 2023, Hacks 2024. So maybe they're on an upswing. The studio just won with TCA. So if it also wins with the Emmys, that'll be 3 in a row. It seems like that's going to happen. So let's give it to them. Now, Best Drama Series is a little bit better. It's matched up 14 times out of the past 25 years, including 5 in a row. So that makes me wonder.
The last 5 in a row?
Yes. So Succession won 3 of those 5. The Crown and Shogun. Those are the most 5 recent TCA winners that also matched up at the Emmys. So if this trend continues, it would be 6 in a row with The Pit.
Okay, well,
we'll see. I personally, I'm still sticking with Severance. I know there's that hearts versus minds thing is real, and people are wrestling with that. I still think Severance with its number of nominations and with just the excitement that's been able to generate again through these live events and through the fascination people have with it, it still feels to me like that's the show that will win. Now, I do think The Pit's going to do well in the acting categories, especially Noah Wyle. But I don't know. Show overall, I'm still leaning with Severance due to its especially with the writing and directing support.
Yeah, the thing about The Pit, and I was on The Pit for a long time. It's probably only going, if let's say it does win drama series, right, it's probably only going to win drama actor and drama casting. I mean, maybe it could win some other things too, but right, I think those 3 would be pretty locked up. I hate to use the word lock. I'm sorry.
If Severance wins, it's probably not going to win any acting awards. So I mean, they both neither of them. It's not. No one's going to be a Succession this
There's
year.
No sweep.
Right.
No.
But Severance is probably going to dominate the creative arts. So when it wins like 6, 7 awards, let's say at creative arts, everyone who's on the Pit bandwagon now may switch to Severance in that week leading up to the Emmys.
The only thing that concerns me about Severance is like the group of people that might just be like, what is going on? Like,
right.
They just don't have the patience. It's very easy to put the Pit on.
Yeah.
And it's a traditional emotional drama that you don't have to break your brain watching it. So if there's anyone that's just frustrated that by all the ups and downs of a show like Severance that I love personally, but like some people might just be like, I don't have time for this right now.
Right. No, that is true. There is something to the old school nature of the Pit in terms of feeling like ER back in the day. It was originally started as an ER spinoff, and it's allegedly anyway. But it harkens back to that era, and it's very easy to sort of just dive in and not have to feel like you're trying to parse everything that's happening in it. Well, for our final segment, we've been talking a lot about live events, and I wanted to touch on the biggest live show that's still on broadcast television anyway, and that's Saturday Night Live, which has had coming off its 50th season, had a big year for that, and I just want to read out some of the stats in terms of its Emmy nominations. Because of its 50th season, it was NBC's most nominated show among it got 19 out of the 29 nominations that NBC by itself, just as its own network, not counting cable channels, got. So that's 19 overall. Season 50 with its various specials and things got 30 total nominations. And just for the breakdown, that's 7 nominations for the show itself, 12 nominations for the SNL 50 anniversary special, 6 nominations for the SNL 50 homecoming concert, 3 nominations for the SNL 50 Beyond Saturday Night series, and then another 2 nominations for Questlove's documentary series about the 50 years of music of SNL. So that's a lot. Sorry, that's a lot of stuff to throw out there. But 30 chances to win, 30 chances to lose. How we're going to get into specific categories in a minute, but how overall, how many do we think, or how do we think it's going to do with that many nominations? And especially with the season 50, it's a historic moment for the show. So now's the time to honor it if they're going to.
That's so much Saturday night. We're on Sunday already.
I know.
That's a ton of Saturday Night Live. I think it's going to win a lot of categories. And I think maybe we could go category by category, but I think the main one where the main show is up against John Last Week Tonight with John Oliver is that really weird scripted variety category. I think SNL could pull out a victory there. I know everyone else is going with John Oliver because John Oliver wins every year, but it is possible. If SNL were ever going to beat John Oliver, it would be this year.
Especially because we're probably not going to see, at least in its current form, an SNL 60. Like TV, who knows what TV is going to be like in another 10 years. So this is the most historic moment you can possibly honor the show at this point for SNL, for sure.
I think the Emmys are going to come from the specials. I don't think there was anything that particularly great about the actual 50th season of SNL. I think.
But do you think the voters may be influenced by the docs when they're voting on that category?
Possibly, more than typical, perhaps. But I still think Last Week Tonight with John Oliver just doesn't lose. And when I think of like the regular season of SNL, I mean, maybe people will just be confused and vote for everything SNL. Maybe you're right, but I don't think there was anything groundbreaking or special about this season of SNL that wasn't happening in years prior. So I just don't see it winning there. But I do think that the specials, particularly the 50th reunion special, is going to do very well. And a couple of them are competing with each other in these different categories, which I know pissed Lorne Michaels off. I've heard some things where he was like trying to figure out like, how can we get these in different categories? Like we're going to eat ourselves, and that could be a concern. There are a couple of instances like the reunion and the concerts, I believe, are both up for some of the live categories. So are they going to split votes? I don't know.
And then there's the Peacock versus NBC of it all too. Like we always say that Peacock has trouble getting any traction on the awards, but if it wins something, that'd be great for Peacock. I mean, I think they can finally add Emmys to their shelves over there.
The Variety Special Live, like right. I pulled it up now. So SNL 50, the anniversary specials in first.
Right.
But then you have SNL 50, the homecoming concert in there. So are they going to get a little split and his Beyonce bowl? Just going to take them all down. Cowboy Carter coming through on her white horse. I mean, that could be what happens.
Right. Absolutely.
It was also a really good Super Bowl halftime show with Kendrick Lamar. That was very buzzy. This is a really hot category.
And the fifth nominee is the Oscars, hosted by Conan, which everybody loved. They loved it so much they invited Conan back again a year in advance. What is interesting at Gold Derby in this Variety Special Live category is SNL 50, the anniversary special is number 1. SNL 50, the homecoming concert is number 5. So it seems like there may not be a vote split here. Like if you like SNL, you're going to go for the anniversary special here.
Well, let's do a quick. I will dive into the 5 of the categories. There are a lot, but there's 5 specific categories that we're predicting for creative arts and primetime, where SNL is competitive, and sort of see where we're thinking. So starting off, obviously the two show race with variety scripted series, where Saturday Night Live and Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. I am going to give the edge to SNL because of the 50th. I agree that like as a show, it wasn't the greatest. I don't know that it's a distinguishing season, but again, the historic nature of it, the fact that this is their chance to award it before Last Week Tonight inevitably wins again next year. Part of me is thinking this is the year. If it's going to win ever, this is the year it's going to win.
I'm going with it too. Only 11% of people are going with that. So we're kind of on the outs here, but this was also the season that started with the 2024 election. So you had Maya Rudolph coming back playing Kamala Harris. You had, remind me.
What a terrible memory, but like no one wants to look back on that.
It was fun. I forget who plays Trump.
Oh right, yeah. It's one of the not so new guys anymore. But like, yeah, I forget his name now.
Okay, James. I apologize. It's James Austin Johnson. I should have known that.
No,
He's so good as Trump, and she was good as Kamala, and just having them go at each other. J.D. Vance was played by Bowen Yang. Dana Carvey came back many times as Joe Biden. I had fun watching it. I know maybe it is a bad memory / nightmare to look back on it now, but at the time it was great.
But then you're sticking with Last Week Tonight. That's you're sticking with that as your prediction.
I am. I'm gonna go with the flow here, and I'm not gonna get all riled up for this. Right. I don't buy into the sentimental thing very easily.
I will say I'm with you in the variety series writing category, where I do think Last Week Tonight's going to win there because their writing staff is so great. They do such trenchant commentary. That to me seems like where Last Week Tonight's going to win this year, whereas I think SNL will get the overall. How about yourselves? What's your variety series writing prediction?
Yeah, Last Week Tonight wins this writing category every year, it seems like. So I wouldn't go against him in this one.
Another thing about Last Week Tonight with John Oliver is it's HBO, and that is a powerhouse. And it's HBO versus NBC, which is just still trying to hang on for its life here. And I mean, HBO is the most nominated network. I mean, that's another reason why Last Week Tonight is just powerful. It's on the most, to me, the most prestigious and powerful network in the business right now. I think it's still HBO.
And then the final primetime category is the variety special live that we're predicting. I think we mentioned earlier SNL 50 anniversary special specifically is leading our predictions, and that's where I'm going as well. I think that to me is the most likely winner. With I actually have the Homecoming concert second just because of the name, but it is interesting to know that the predictors feel like that. To be fair, I didn't watch all of it, so maybe it got much worse as it went along, and so I should be going with Beyonce Bowl instead. But I do think the anniversary special has that one locked up for this sort of.
And this is the category that recently moved from the creative arts to the primetime ceremony. So I guess the question is Beyonce going to show up? Because we know she's not going to the creative arts, but this is at the primetime. Beyonce, we want you at the Emmys.
That's the assumption of why they moved it, correct? I mean, they want Beyonce to show up. But if it's anything like the Grammys, she shows up an hour and a half late just in time for her category. So they better give her the correct time slot and be very prompt.
I think the assumption that I heard was that Lorne Michaels wanted this category. This is just a rumor that he wanted this category on at the primetime Emmys because, he has a lot of power in Hollywood.
Kenneth Page giving you notes. I like that. You're getting notes direct from 30 Rock. but both of you are predicting SNL 50 as well, the anniversary special for that category. Are you bagging?
I am. Yeah, just so much history. It just
And then the other two where it's up is on the creative arts side, variety special directing. And there again we have repeat of both the anniversary special and the Homecoming concert, along with the Oscars, the halftime show, Beyonce Bowl, and Tony Awards sneaking in there. I have the anniversary special again here, winning for directing again to sort of carry over for that and getting all those stars in and out of a very tiny studio when you're actually there. How about yourselves? What's your pick for that category?
So this one, I'm going to go with the odds because I feel like the fact that the odds have the Homecoming concert up first for directing, whereas in the other category it was in 5th place, I feel like thousands of people are predicting this. So they must know something I don't know. And so I'm looking at the names. Beth McCarthy Miller has directed the Homecoming concert. She's a beloved Emmy veteran here. So that could be why she's leading our odds. So I'm copying our odds. Full disclaimer.
I think part of it is the music anytime there's music in a live thing it really makes everything more complicated. And just speaking with Questlove and James Poyser recently, they were saying it was absolute chaos and it came together beautifully, but like everything up to that was just a mind fuck. So the thing I'm going with here, and this might be crazy, but a homecoming concert is very high in this category, unlike the other one. And SNL 50, the anniversary special. Now, this is where things might get a little confusing. So I just, call me crazy, I'm going to go with the Super Bowl halftime show, which has won this category in the past. It was a very intricate performance. And at the time, a lot of buzz for Kendrick Lamar's performance. I believe it was the most watched ever, or at least since like back when everyone watched. Like maybe, I think it's probably not up there with like Michael Jackson, but in recent history, his was the most watched.
And the director is Hamish Hamilton, who has won this twice in a row, this very category. He won for the Oscars last year, and he won for the Rihanna Super Bowl in 2023. So he's actually nominated against himself. He's nominated the Oscars this year, and he's nominated for directing the Oscars and for directing the Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl, which is very interesting.
I like the wealth of options we have here. That's great. And then the last one is Variety Special Writing, where you've got SNL 50, just the anniversary special this time, up against the Conan O'Brien Kennedy Center Prize honors the Your Friend Nate Bargatze special, which we interviewed Nate Bargatze hosting for the Emmys. I'm actually going to go with Conan O'Brien here for the Kennedy Center. I think the Trump news about the Kennedy Center has shown a new light. What we're going to get the first pre-Trump, last Trump Kennedy Center honors that didn't before he came back into office. And people love Conan O'Brien's Oscar hosting stint. He's probably not going to win for that, but this would be a chance to honor Conan and all stuff. And he's a great host. So and his writing is always sharp. So I have Conan up there on top in this category for me.
We were just talking about this category here in the office, and what's interesting about this writing category is the Conan O'Brien Kennedy Center Mark Twain Prize was probably the funniest 2-hour special I saw on TV all year. But how many of those famous comedians that came out and presented to Conan, how many of them were written by the staff that's nominated here, and how many wrote their own stuff? I don't know if that matters. I don't know if the voters care, but that's something that I might take into consideration. Because if they all wrote their own things, then, what are we actually voting on here? I think we're voting on Conan's speech in the monologue. But I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. So forgive me.
I agree. I thought the Kennedy Center Mark Twain Prize was funnier. I laughed out loud more during that than I did the anniversary special. I still am going to give the edge to the anniversary special just because of the nostalgia of all of that. But Conan O'Brien is having a very, very good year. So that might be close. Sarah Silverman, Nate Bargatze, and Conk on Life. They can all go to the bar. But I think this could be close between SNL and Conan.
Yeah, there's a lot of good content this year, especially in these variety categories.
It's been a really strong year, and I think the winners will be very exciting when they actually do take the stage, because this is the variety live event series thing is in a very weird place now. So it'll be fun to see how people address that, and also remember how great these specials are when they're done really well. In the case of SNL or the Kennedy Center honors. So.
I mean, I'm blown away by some of these names that are nominated: Michael Che, Mikey Day, Steve Higgins, Lorne Michaels, John Mulaney, Tina Fey too for the SNL. So I don't know if the names are on the ballot, that might be important to people. If they're not on the ballot, then maybe it doesn't. Maybe this means nothing at all.
I just keep going back to the Kennedy Center of it all, and the fact again that Trump is there now, so that's top of mind for people. Maybe they don't look at the writers; they just look at the Kennedy Center. Conan O'Brien, yes, we need more of that. Less of Kennedy Center under Trump. So that's the.
Or it could be a turnoff. I mean, right. Some people didn't even want Conan to go to the Kennedy Center. So who are you offending on any given day? Like, it could be anyone.
Well, that's that wraps up our time for now. Thanks for everyone for tuning in for our live events awards magnet, breaking down all the great live events. We'll be back next week with more topics to cover. And please be like Nancy Mallory and send us questions, comments, voicemails to our awardsmagnet@goldderby.com email address. And gentlemen, thanks again for joining. Denton, you're going off on vacation. Enjoy it. Please take a well-deserved break away from anything involving celebrities and TV shows, and just veg out doing other things. We hope you have a rest of time.
I'll do my best. Thank you.
Excellent. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week. Take care. Thanks for listening to Awards Magnet, Gold Derby podcast. Like what you heard? Leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Awards Magnet is produced by Andrew Merrill. Our logo is designed by Chelsea Sakura. Please like and subscribe to stay on top of all the awards news, and email us at awardsmagnet@goldderby.com.